All right. We live.
Yeah.
If you saw that 10-second clip, that's just like an intro I'm working on. So to create one for Converse with the Mamas, the One Busy Mama, whatever.
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Okay, do it again. All right.
Was I muted?
It didn't come through. I didn't hear anything. But
Okay,
anyway,
good.
welcome to the live, everybody. If you're just joining us, or you're on the replay, because I got to start shouting the replay gang in the beginning so they can hear our voice.
Yeah.
So they can be like, "Oh wait, that's me.
Mhm.
Let me see what they're saying about me." Oh, anyway, our topic today for Converse with the Mamas.
In the building.
Yes, this is, wrong way. Tasharia, Wellness with Frugal Mama, right? And One Busy Mama, if you're new, you just chimed in. It's midweek mashup. We're all over the place. So stay tuned. I think we got a super chat. Did we get
super chat?
We got the super. We got the super. And if you, thank you so much, Savage. Actually, I got the Savage merch on. Hold on, if I can actually
represent.
Get up. There we go, Savage Nation. You know how it is. And that premiere was fire. Like really,
I know, right? That was super good.
With the bunny hopping and everything, the new move, sniping at the airport. What do they call it? It was like a station. I think it was the airport. Whatever. Hey, BKNY, Celestial. Who else? Amma.
We got another superstar.
Oh, we got another one. Oh, Southern boy. I'm doing my dance. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I really do. Hey, Paper Chased Me Beats. Yes, with the Don't Know hype. What a way to introduce the show, huh?
Right on.
I'm calling it a show.
Okay, because that's what it is. It's a whole vibe.
Also, disclaimer will go up on the screen in a little bit. I'm trying to add some dimensions, changing some stuff up. Six Gunna. Hey, Tammy. Shout out to the members, by the way.
Hey, Six Gunna.
Those videos that he makes are like, they're movies.
I know.
Hey.
Did you? I know you saw Southern Boy TV. That
clip, that little intro
from a movie or a dang on game.
I was like, what kind of intro is this?
I said, they making these, whatever this is, like too real. Like,
I think I've seen some bits and pieces.
Why I close my eyes while I'm watching it? I said, girl, I done closed my eyes.
Oh my God.
Y'all know I do not like scary stuff. I be like, shoot, I'm gonna have to sleep with my eyes open, but
you gotta watch that during the day.
Yeah, honey. It was good though, because it was like one of those things that kind of drew you in because it was so vivid. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. The graphics too, like the water dripping in the sink.
I know.
Like,
that's what
oh no. Who done did something now? So
and then they had just put out that Jeffrey Dahmer movie. I mean, like that. I was like, whatever, documentary, whatever it is. I said
we probably
about 50 years ago, but now they putting this out. I said it's too much going on.
Right, they're putting it out for the new people, the new folks.
Gonna have people sleeping with their knives and weaponry.
Hey, Jay. No, for real, because I'm like, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Pretty much, I believe so. I don't know.
He's dead. Like
he been dead, and it's like he got what he wanted because he wanted to be famous for for those
merciless.
There you go. Thank you, interpreter. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Yes.
help a sister out.
But that's what every serial killer, psychopath, and that kind of has a lot to do with what we're talking about today. So if you're like, what the hell?
What did I sign myself up for?
It does. So he fits the profile for real. They want to get caught. They want, it's more that they want to get caught because they want the notoriety, right? They want the fame for what they did. They're not going to sit back and let somebody else take the rap. They're going to be like, no, wait. I was there. I put it here. I had these kind of socks on, just telling on themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't even know. But I don't know if I'm actually going to see that series, just because I don't like anything that has to do with kids. And I heard that he was snatching up boys and whatnot. So anyway, that could be false, allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah, I
wasn't there. So we might have to just read the synopsis, talk about it.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, I can't. I don't like watching stuff like that.
No, me either.
I just heard about it.
Let's see. Midweek mashup. Our topic today is grief and loss, which is mostly what we're going to talk about. And then domestic violence awareness on Converse with the Mamas. That's why you're here, right? To listen to the mamas. If you guys want to come up, I can drop the link. But first, let's get through my story, I guess, my personal story. Hey, James Skype, thanks. And I'll try not to read the chat, so I'm not ignoring you. I am trying to get through it because it's very,
Before we get serious.
We got the super chat.
Woo-hoo!
Wait,
woo-hoo! Hey, woohoo! Before we get serious, yes, let's get it down one more time.
Get it. We got the rain. Oh, gift and memberships too.
We might be having some new emojis. Yeah. I love memberships because, boy, I love me some custom emojis, honey.
Me too. I'm missing a few, but we're gonna talk about that another day. Hey, Via Speaks. Shout out to the member hype and the dono hype. Yes, official Jamia got it.
Yes.
What did you say, Celestial? Serial killers are narcissists, psychopaths. Yes. Donna Just Being Real, actually, another channel, talks a lot about domestic violence and serial killers and crazy type people. Oh, we got another gifted membership. Boop, 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 boop.
Justin got it.
Justin got it.
Loyalty.
Shout out to the member.
Okay, she say now you have my full attention.
Okay. I appreciate you, though. I really do.
For real.
Yes. Shout out to those custom emojis, those members. Gotta love it. I'm gonna share my screen soon. So I'm gonna have to switch this whole thing. The technology is a little behind over here. So grief and loss and domestic violence awareness. So let me start off by saying that domestic violence awareness is this month, October, which is why, I wear purple all the time because I love purple. But the color for domestic violence awareness is purple. So we have our trigger warning on the bottom of the screen. So if you are affected by any triggers that have to do with domestic violence, you've lost somebody, this is intense. It's going to be a really quick story because I myself am involved in the story, so I don't want to trigger myself and have a whole doggone, go viral moment. I want it to be something about fun and funny for viral. But anyway, it's a very serious topic. So purple. I know everybody thinks breast cancer awareness, and shout out to those folks too. you know, it's a very serious topic over there too. But right now, right here, we're talking about domestic violence and grief and loss because they both go together. So let me get my setup and I'll be back.
Thanks everybody coming in. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. And we appreciate you being here. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to everybody live in full effect in the chat. Shout out to those people watching in the bushes. Can't do it without you, baby. Hey. We are about to get started with her presentation, so hang tight. And we are we on the way. Yay. We on the way, yay. Thank you for the big thumbs up, queen. If one busy mama don't come back, then I'm gonna have to perform for y'all. I'm gonna have to. Oh, there she go. Never mind. I ain't have to do all that.
Oh, so I'm back because I need to share the screen, and I'm trying to turn down the whole volume. So hopefully you guys don't hear an echo. Do you hear echo?
No echo on my end.
All right, I'll put the phone a little far away. Shout out to those who are coming in. Appreciate you guys. Just for fun, when this is over, just watch the intro because there's like a few fun stuff happening. Hey, life. We're going to get into a very serious topic, so I needed to share my screen. And I have to do that on the laptop because of StreamYard. Also, while I'm here, tomorrow we're going to do a fun little game tryout. So stay tuned for that. It's not the official game night because I want to try something out. But definitely stay tuned for that. Okay. I can hear myself. That's why I'm like pausing a little bit, but not overpowering. Okay. So I'm going to show you, Domestic Violence Month is October. And I want to give a little history, obviously. You know, that's what I do here. Oh, there it is. I'm looking right at it and I can't even click on it. Okay, so shout out to the people coming in. Thank you so much. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, DVAM, launched nationwide October 1987, which I wasn't even aware of. But it raises issues and awareness for those organizations that are involved. There's also Purple Thursday during the month of October, to wear purple on Thursday. So if you didn't know that, I hope you learned something. Purple ribbons. I'm sure you're familiar with the ribbons already. They're like everywhere in every color. So that's an important part of the piece of the story. And I'm going to now show you guys the rest of the story here. So if you are into one of those, like, what do we call them? Criminal intent type stories, you know, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. This will pull you right in. So let me get another screen. And we're going to talk about the person that was affected by domestic violence, and she actually did lose her life. So let me just show you a few clips here. So her name was Dia Wells. She grew up in New Britain, Connecticut, and many of you know I'm from Connecticut. So they placed her date of death as February 4th, 2010. I'll bring up the obituary. I actually have it, but I wasn't going to pull it out. It says that she died unexpectedly, but she was in fact murdered by her husband. And she happened to be one of my very, very best friends. So, let's see. They give a little backstory here, and I try not to like get too involved, but this one was extremely unfortunate and totally too close to me. So we knew each other. Let's give some facts behind the whole thing. So I have a brother. His name is Steven, and his dad, that is my half brother, his dad, Stephen Holloman, whose name is right here, is also Dia's father. Now, what do you call them? Rolling Stones back in the day? He had a lot of kids. So Dia happened to be one of them, and her brother, Devin. And so that's how I knew Dia growing up, but we didn't grow up together. I knew about her because obviously I had a brother who is younger than her. And when I would go with I call him my stepfather, we would go out, we'd go, and he had a bunch of kids. So we would go visit some of his kids. And I met her when she was like a teenager. I'll say that. She was in high school and kind of cool to hang around because I'm a few years younger than her, but not by much. So we used to hang out. And then as we got older into adulthood, we reconnected on that level because now we're adults. And when I reconnected with her, she was fully pregnant with her first child, and her children are listed here: Giovanni, Jaden, and Gianna. So she was pregnant with Giovanni, and she was due in April. And I went to a park, and I said I was going to make this a short story, right? So anyway, that's how we reconnected. And from then we were like inseparable. I actually used to live around the corner from her house. I lived there before her. So when she bought her house, it was around the corner, and it was really a surprise because she didn't care for the house, but she started to fall in love with it. And mostly, I want to say because of me, because I like architecture. And I was like, oh, but it has this. And look, it has a fireplace and it has a basement and it's really nice. And so I was over there like every day. I could literally walk to her house. So she ended up having her first son, Giovanni, and then she went to nursing school, which I was very proud of her for doing because she doubted herself a lot. And then she had Jaden, who was like my little love bug. And then we were both pregnant at the same time when she had Gianna. Our daughters actually share the same birthday, the 23rd. My daughter's April and her daughter is August. So we obviously bonded even more over that. So I'll give you the story behind how all of this really happened. Dia, like most women, probably would have never even thought that this was going to happen to her. We had a lot of conversations about death because she was like eerily intrigued by a lot of it. So we had conversations that she jokingly was talking about, like if she ever died, she wanted her kids to mummify her so she could be sitting on the couch and, watch TV with them and whatnot. And I thought that was hilarious, but also one of her fears was to die alone, which ultimately happened. So the night of February 3rd, I'm going to jump to that. We went out, me and Dia. I dragged her along because I was going out with my other friend. It was her birthday for the 4th. of February. I dragged her out to go with me because I didn't want to go by myself. And that's usually what we did. She would drag me to places and I would drag her to places. And that's why you call them your ride or die, right? Um, so we went together. She drove over to my house and then we went in my car. And the spot that we picked, very awesome place. It's called Margaritas in East Hartford. If anybody wants to go there, they have the best margaritas. So that night, she sort of plays shy all the time, but she I used to call her the B word all the time because she didn't fake anything about anything, and that's why I liked her, because she would just tell you the truth. So anyway, we went having a good time, drinking, whatnot. All of a sudden, she got really emotional about life, you know. She had this passionate speech. Um, she had lost like a lot of weight. I don't even remember how much because this happened in 2010, but she lost a lot of weight. She was way over 200 pounds when she had her kids. She was a smoker before that, and she just always said, I'm going to be a big girl for the rest of my life. And I said, no, you're not. You just because you're fat now doesn't mean you're always going to be fat. So she was dedicated. She wanted to look good. She wanted to be able to run after her kids. So of course she was finding herself really cute. You know, when you lose weight, you find yourself cute. You find yourself wearing clothes you never wore before, and she attracted all kinds of attention. I'm not going to deny that. But anyway, she was proud of how she looked. So she was giving this whole speech about you just got to love yourself. You just got to, you know. And it was really moving. I'm going to say that. Let me get some water. I was even taken back because she doesn't talk to other people like that. So when she became passionate about it, I was like, oh my God, what'd they put in your drink? You know, just joking. I want to say like a week or two before this day that we went out, she, with the help of me, filed a restraining order against her husband because he apparently slammed her head into the tub. And if you're from up north, the tubs are made out of cast iron, a lot of them. And she didn't tell me right away because she was afraid of what I would say. And I immediately told her, you need to get a restraining order. You need to file whatever because that is not okay. I know I'm going over and over, but so that night, before we went out, it was a little delay because Juan, her husband, was supposed to be watching the kids, and he said that he couldn't. He did work 2 or 3 jobs, so he said that he couldn't do it, but he wanted to meet her with the kids before she went out. Blah blah blah, and anyway, we went out and she gave the passionate speech, right?
Mhm.
And I was just taken aback by her passion because I never heard her really talk like that. She always was vocal, but not about um, self confidence and doing you. And it was just not a thing then that I heard her being that vocal. And now, when I look back, I feel like she knew something was going to happen. So we drove back to my house where her car was parked after, we were done chilling. And she said, "Oh, I'm just gonna go home." And I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "You call me if anything, if you see him, if he's there and he's not supposed to be there, you just let me know." And she's like, I will, I promise." And oh, this is gonna be hard. So
Take your time.
I do want to say that no matter the reason, nobody deserves to die that way. I gotta get through this because I haven't talked publicly about it. And I'm sure if you read that little news clipping you've seen, there were 3 friends. My name was there, and 2 of her other friends that I didn't know well at the time. For a reason. Um, she never called me. And she always called me in the morning when she took Giovanni to the bus stop. And so I called her because I was working. And I called her and she didn't answer. So I called her right back because that was our relationship. And knowing what I knew, I said, something happened. Something happened. She always answers her phone. Gosh, I just want to get through it without crying. So she didn't answer, and it was like really early in my shift, and I was like, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wasn't. I'm trying to think. I said I was working. I wasn't working that day, but I went to work because I was looking for her. Um, gosh, I went to work because I felt like I needed to go somewhere. I remember going to the gym where she worked out. I remember that. And I asked the guy there who should have known her. And he said, no, she didn't show up. And then I drove to work and I used the phone there to call her. And I called her friend. I got her number from the guy at the gym that she hung out with. I can't remember her name now. But anyway, I was at work. And my friend, who I'm still friends with, was there. And she was like, oh, call me if anything. She's probably just busy, whatever. So I left and I kept driving around thinking, where could she be? And on my way to go get my kids, because they spent the night at their cousin's house, because it was, when you go out, right? On my way driving, my friend that I just got through talking to at work called me. And the reason why I said that I was at work was because I went to work, and that's what I'm remembering now. And my friend from work called me, and she's like, Bethany, because she also went out with me and Dia one time or twice or whatever. Her birthday's in October, and we all went out. And once again, I dragged Dia with me because I didn't want to go by myself. So she knew her. And she called me. And while I was driving, she's like, you need to pull over right now. What house does she live on? And I said, what house? What are you talking about? And I said, she lives on Brighton Street. It's a red house. And she's like, it's on the news, Bethany. It's on the news. What's on the news? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's on the news. She's like, there's police cars everywhere. And I said, no, it's not her. It's not her house. And I dropped the phone and I just started screaming because inside I really knew something was wrong. And I picked up the phone and I continued to scream. She's like, you got to calm down. Where are you? And I was like, I'm going over there right now. And she's like, don't do that. And I was like, I have to. So it's not far from where I lived. And where obviously I told you I lived around the corner, but from my job was the next town over. So it wasn't that far. And the gym and everything was not that far. So I drove there and I don't remember the whole drive really, but I drove there and there were police cars outside, sure enough, like she said. I'm going to switch back to the other one because I can't take this echo. I'm sorry.
Thank everybody for being here while Bethany switches over her devices. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you all to those who have shared the live stream out. It is very important topic today. It is a very important topic today, and that we are able to speak about our losses in grief, because there are several stages of grief, and we may go through them at any time and may have to go through them several times. So if you feel so inclined to share the live stream, please do, because it may help somebody go through a similar experience or relate to something.
I apologize for like my memory and everything because I wanted this to be smooth, but it's rough, man. It's what, 22 years later? 22 or 12? What's the math? What is the
12.
math?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's 12. Ooh,
Mhm.
I was like, dang, I'm not that old.
Mhm.
So anyway, I drove there because something happens to me when I am either under a lot of pressure or I just become like this superhero. And I don't realize that. Thank you, RK Pop, Rich, and VKNY, and all those people who shared hugs. Thank you. I don't think about what I'm going through at the moment. I just concentrate on what I need to do to get through this. And like I said, this was somebody I talked to all day, every day. So it's a big chunk of my life that was taken. And my grief is probably nothing compared to the 3 children that were involved. That just is a whole nother problem when it comes to people doing selfish crimes where they don't think about the ramifications that are going to happen to these children. And I'm sure they're way more traumatized than I could ever be. But I will tell you that she never wanted to leave her kids. And she loved her kids. She never thought that she was going to be a mom. That was well known to everybody. But once she had her first child, she quickly realized that there's nothing else that she would have rather done. I had a friend. Oh gosh. And it is hard to get out. And sometimes you just cannot. You can't see what everybody else sees. I've been around this guy. I've seen him interact with his children. And I would have never thought, ever, in a million years, a skinny, old, frail thing that he was would ever be able to carry out something like what he did. I drove over there like Superwoman, thinking I was going to do what? I have no freaking clue. But I got there, and sure enough, police tape and all that other crap. And I said to them, like, this is why I tell my kids, you got to walk in like you own the place. Because that's how I walked in. Red tape, caution tape everywhere. I was like, I don't give two shits why you guys are here. If she's in there, I need to be in there. And they're like, it's too late. She's gone. And I was like, who did you call? Who did you call? And they're like, we called her mom. And I was like, what? The kids weren't even with her mom. And that's when the detective at the time told me that he dropped the kids off after he did what he did to his mom, to her mom, which is crazy because even though Dia spent a lot of time, you know, with her mom, they had a relationship, and that was really the only person that she could rely on as far as family could go, but their relationship was not the best, and she made it very clear. I told you we talked about death many times. She made it very clear she didn't want her kids with her mom ever, like that, if anything ever happened to her. And I said, well, as we've talked before, people, you got to put shit in writing because it doesn't matter. Those kids are with her now. And so Mr. Juan was staked out, apparently, because he wasn't supposed to be there. Restraining order, remember? He waited for her to go inside, and he stabbed her more than 20 times. And when the detective talked to me, he said that she was stabbed multiple times. At that time, he said multiple times. And I said, that's impossible. But wait a minute, she only has one knife in her house. And he's like, how do you know that? And I was like, because she didn't like having knives around her kids. But there was one knife that we both bought. It was from Target, and it was a breast cancer awareness, happened to be, knife. So that was the only knife that she had. And he kind of looked at me like, okay, that's a little too specific. And I said, it probably sounds really crazy, but you're talking about somebody I spent a lot of my time with, day in and day out. And I went into the house after talking to him. Don't ask me why they allowed me to do all this crap, okay? But they did allow me to go into the house. And I said, I have to see it. I have to see it because I can tell you exactly what he did, where he did. I knew that house, forwards, backwards. When she bought it, I was there. When they moved in, I was there. When they decorated, I was there. I knew everything. And this happened February 3rd into the 4th, right? She still had her Christmas tree up. Not going to judge her for that, but she would have left that up until April if she wanted to. So when I walked into the front door, and this is a bungalow style house. It was a beautiful house that she didn't really care for, but I really liked it, and I made her like it. And I walked through the living room, and there's like a little entryway that went into the kitchen, and I seen all the blood everywhere, just everywhere. Not even a horror story could do better than this. And what I saw was a pot of water, and oodles and noodle packet on the counter with a bowl and the fork that she was getting ready to eat, because if you knew her, that was her go-to meal. She would make oodles and noodles, sprinkle some sazon on it, and she probably ate that every day. And I said, so where's the knife? Oh, we haven't found it. And I said, really? Okay. I said, where's her car? Oh, it was parked in the garage. And I said, she never parks her car in the garage. She always parked halfway down the driveway. The garage was mainly for storage. And they said, well, what do you think happened? And I said, he parked it there, because she never opened the garage. It wasn't an automated garage. You'd have to actually lift the gate in order to put your car. Anyway, my God, this is going to be the longest story. Okay, so I'm telling you these specifics because I was then immediately looked at as a suspect. And to be on the receiving end of losing somebody immediately and then talk to like a suspect. I know the stuff that I was saying sounded super crazy. And I think that she helped me. I honestly think that she helped me. Because shortly after this whole walking through the kitchen that I wasn't supposed to be looking at a crime scene, I get a call from a state trooper. And he said, your name's Bethany, right? And I said, yeah, who's this? And he's like, I just pulled over Juan in North Carolina. And I said, North Carolina? So he's running. And he's like, what do you mean he's running? I said, you know he did this. I could tell you he did this. And if his ass is in North Carolina, he was here last night. So how did he get there that fast? And I said, he actually knows somebody that can get him out of the country. He's originally from Mexico. That can get him out of the country through Florida. And I bet you that's where he was going. He's like, that's crazy. How do you know all that? And I was like, because I know him. And he pulls people all the time from Mexico to come here and get jobs. And I felt like all the courage that I had, I wasn't grieving. I was demanding something be done. So then I get another call from the police chief of New Britain, and they want me to come down to the station because, once again, now I am a suspect. Giving too much information that sounds too much like the truth. So I went down there, I sat down there in a locked room, and they took all my stuff, and they were like, oh, you're not, but we just want to know how you know all this. I don't know the time frame, but me and Dia did discuss life insurance. We discussed papers for her children. She worked very hard to give them the life that she wanted. And why she told me this crap, I will never know. But in her closet, in her master bedroom, she showed me where she kept her paperwork, where she kept all the financial stuff for the house, all the life insurance information. I did not care, but she showed it to me. And I was fascinated with her closet because there was a window, and I love tiny little windows in closets. And she showed it to me, and behind, because I was there when they moved in, behind the wall over here, or on the wall over here on the closet. So it was like a six, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's the like a cape has those that stick out on the front of the house that have a window. This house had that. So on that wall there was a like an extra storage compartment, not big enough for you to go through, but big enough to put stuff in it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I love that. That's such a neat spot. That immediately got into my head. You're right, Tammy. Too much. Like she told me too much. That immediately popped in my head when the police detective was talking to me, and I said, that's where the knife is. I guarantee it. And he got on the phone with somebody in front of me, and he told them, go back to the house. I have her sitting here. It's in the closet behind the clothes. So I waited. Sure enough, that's where it was. I say all these things because I am a really good friend. And she knew that. She had to have known that to trust me with it. Nobody would have known that spot. Nobody would have looked there. Except for the people who live there. And they found it. And they brought his rat tail back. And I was there for every day of the trial. But that's a later story. And he was convicted. You guys can go look it up. I don't want to spend time on him because he doesn't deserve it. But his kids were there when he did it. And his oldest son allegedly saw some of it because he went through counseling and I wasn't going to be the one to ask him what he saw. But he told one of his counselors that he heard her screaming, he heard her calling for them, and she would have. There was something else. Oh, so in all the news articles, if you want to look it up and you want more information, you could look it up. But I'm there in every single one. I planned with the two other friends her funeral. A dormer, yeah, 6. I planned her funeral. I planned what she was going to wear, what her makeup was going to look like. Something I never should have done. And I never want to do. It is awful. Just awful to watch. But I had to do it. I felt like if nobody's going to do it, I'm going to do it. I should never have picked anything out. That is not what I signed up for, being a friend. But I did it because I really loved her. And it was probably the hardest thing to do. And I'm not trying to be funny, but when those people jump into caskets for, what is it, like, just to be funny or just to be exaggerating, I wanted her to come back. I've never been that close to a dead body. But I had to for myself. And I stood there for a long time hugging her, talking to her. Oh gosh. What part people will never understand is this was a blindsided thing that happened to her. She never would have guessed. She never would have known. And most people will say that as a cliche. Because when people are sick and people are crazy and they think that they're losing everything, they take you with them right down the rabbit hole. My grief is obviously not over. And I wouldn't want anybody to experience the things that I've had to. It wasn't the same. And I'm sure a lot of people who've lost children or, can probably relate. I don't want to relate to that either. But I did everything that I could at the time to keep my presence around the kids because I was what they knew aside from their grandmother, obviously, and their father. They just lost their whole world in hours because now they don't have a mother. Now they don't have a father because he's going to jail. So the only thing that was super familiar habits was me. Bus stop. So I tried to do as much as I could. I had my own kids as well, but I tried to get them from the bus stop. I tried to pick them up as much as her mom would let me because then she started to see me as a threat. Whole nother problem, but we're talking about her. So I still, as part of my grief, I'm going to get into that, and as part of my loss, I still have some of her clothes. What little her mother allowed me to take, I wasn't there for taking. I wasn't there to collect as many goodies as I possibly could. I was really happy with just having her clothes, even though some of them didn't fit me because she was still bigger than me. Meanwhile, her mom was having a whole house sale and racking in as much money as she possibly could within days and selling all her stuff. And Dia wasn't cheap. She decorated most of her house with Pure One stuff. And if you know Pure One, I was lucky to get one of those doggone air fresheners that are $18. I apologize because I really wanted to just speak straightforward and get through it. I know many of us have experienced grief, loss, and probably at this point know somebody who's been affected by domestic violence. It is one of the things that I try to champion a lot. I participated in a lot of things. But like I said, this hit me very, very, very hard. That was in February. For years, and as some people can relate, I never went out on the 3rd because to me it was just a horrible number now. The 3rd of February is when we went out, and to celebrate my friend who's born on the 4th, it's just like, couldn't do anything on the 3rd to celebrate with her. It was years before, and my birthday happens to be on the 3rd, so it was a while before I stopped doing that to myself. I still have her clothes. I still have her perfume that she used to wear. There's just so many things that, her picture, her, I don't know. Like, I hear her all the time, and I think, what would be of us now? And I'm sure we would still have the same relationship, but this happened in 2010, and that was February. In April 2010, I took all of my kids and we got on a plane to go to Florida because I just couldn't deal with it. That's not when I moved. I just needed time away from all the things that were too familiar. So I went away for like a week to kind of like just breathe. Everything was, like I lived in those streets. I lived in those neighborhoods. I went to work, and all I could remember was that. And like I said, it just took me a long time. She, long story, she would have been super, super, super proud of everything that I've done. She would have had my back for sure. That was my ride or die. Um, Not a good phrase really to use, but God, get your paperwork in order, people, because that really saved her. It saved her children. They will have money for the rest of their lives. I know that. Oh, one other funny little tidbit was she told me about a bank account that she had, and her mom brought it up because I'm not giving out this information, you know. I had to give out the house insurance information to the court because in order to cash it in, they needed to know her policy and what was on it, and I knew where that was, so I had to not testify, but whatever, be present for it. I don't know. But her mom said, "Oh, there's no other money, no other accounts." There was an account that she had that she was just putting money, and I knew about it, and but that was just an extra one. And her mom fought tooth and nail. She finally got it, but very money hungry. That's why I really say, and it comes from a genuine place. We've talked about it before. Really have your shit together, okay? If it's not in writing, it doesn't matter. All this stuff that she never wanted her mom to touch, she touched it. All this stuff she worked so hard for. I would love to just not continue to cry. I'll stop talking, but I appreciate everybody really for being here. I didn't read the chat, but I will read the chat. And thank you to all those who have super chatted. I am not here for that, but I really appreciate you guys. As usual, Converse with the Mama is talking about topics that you don't ordinarily talk about, and this is a very serious one. The both of them, grief and loss and domestic violence awareness. I had to share, and I don't know that I could ever do a video about it to keep it up there. But if you have great friends, keep them, treat them nicely, because there aren't that many left. You know, loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to come by.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true. And when one busy mom and I first spoke about this, it's like I'm like you like a super freaking hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you build that strength and do what you have to do when you have to do it. But one of the most important things is make sure that you have everything outlined. So if for whatever reason the need arises for things to be in order, that we have our business in order. If we got time to do XYZ, we got time to handle those things. But there are stages of grief, like we were mentioning, and like I said, you may have to go through these stages several times. Denial. Oh, I can't. That can't be happening. That's anger. What the
Yeah.
bargaining? No, I must be dreaming. This, if I had done XYZ, this wouldn't have been.
Celestial mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Celestial mentioned survivor's guilt, and I did
Yep.
that for a long time. I did
Mm-hmm.
that.
But a lot of times there is nothing that we could do to prevent the inevitable. Like if he really he wanted that to happen, he gonna find any kind of way. There's nothing we know that rationally, but in our in our moment of grief, it's hard to accept that. And then the fourth stage is depression. And then the fifth stage is accepting. And at any time, we can go all the way back to
Yeah.
stage one and have to go through those stages. Something may trigger the thought or the feelings or whatever. Like when I heard about Slim Jim Longfoot's niece
Mm-hmm.
and how the individual who committed that horrific that horrific crime that to her to his niece, um, how that happened and transpired. Like their children were in the house, and then he, turned the gun on himself. And so this is happening, something happening every day. So we thank you and appreciate you for having the courage and the strength to share this, because somebody else may be going through this, and it helps them to realize that it is, it's real, and you can
It
go
is. It
through it
is.
and be okay.
On the
Never
flip side,
forget.
because as we were talking about paperwork, paperwork is really important. And the court system, as we know, is not fair. It is not justified. A piece of paper does not stop anybody from doing anything if they're crazy enough to do it. The reason I enforced her to do it and walked her step through step or step by step on doing it is to make a paper trail. Make it known that there is a problem. Not just like, oh my God, because you see the obituary and the newspaper headline said she died unexpectedly. She didn't. There were plenty of reports. There were plenty of police reports to back up that this was going to happen. And a lot of times, men and women will say to themselves, oh, he's not going to do that. He's not going to hurt me. I'm sure she thought the same damn thing. I'm sure she said, he's not going to do that in front of the kids. He did. And she was that type of person. She also could not handle anything when it came to kids. I mean, the stuff that and all that I went through, I totally believe there would have been no way without her. She was the one pushing me. And whether you believe in people uh, coming back, haunting, or spirits, or their soul, or it's very real when you know somebody is right there. Because I definitely had a bag of courage that I didn't think I had. Um, but I felt like it was my duty to do that for her. Like, I just had to know. Like, there's no way. There was no way in my mind. I was like, this is not happening. So, anyway, it is very real. And a lot of people are in denial when they are in a domestic violence situation. They are in complete denial. And they never get out of it until somebody or themselves pulls them out of it. They will never see what you see. So you could sit there and tell them all day, like, oh, he's a bag of garbage, or she ain't worth nothing, or you need to. Nobody's going to do anything unless they want to do it. She was doing what she thought she was supposed to be doing, getting a restraining order. They had come up with an agreement to deal with the kids, trade off, whatnot. That wasn't enough. Okay.
There is a sense of peace, though, that I believe that she has, and she's able to rest because were able to help the police arrest her husband. I think that helps our spirit come to um,
To
come to
rest.
rest. And so, like I said, we will have the strength when we need to. So, I mean, most people will have the strength. So that takes some solace in that, in knowing that she is resting in peace. Have some peace, because otherwise, it would be something looming. It'd be something constantly looming. And her children, you did all that you possibly could in 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 the situation, because sometimes people are just greedy. Like,
Oh, it was disgusting. I've
yeah,
never, it was just totally disgusting. And
mm,
I knew her mom was a bitter person because I've been around her. But just like, and then she called me like after the fact,
mm,
like she already set up this whole thing to do a tag sale or an estate sale or whatever the freak it was. And she like sold off some stuff to her friends first. And I was like, yo, do whatever you want. She's like, oh, but you can have this and then you can have this. And I was like, I don't really want anything. What I had was her. Um,
mm. Yeah, I
but
understand that.
like I said, she had a Christmas tree up. I did say that. She had her Christmas tree up. So I do have 2 or 3 of her ornaments that didn't mean anything to her mom, but I knew what they meant to her. And I do put them up on my tree, regardless if we're even using those colors. They will be on the tree every year. Um, everyone. Right,
Mhm.
Celestial. That's what I say. Is when people think that they're going to lose everything, that you cannot trust them. You cannot. Uh, there's no fear left in a person when they think they've lost everything.
Yeah.
And that is an awful thing to be around, is someone who lacks fear. We all should fear something. Whether it's you're afraid of the dark or you're afraid of the devil, we should all have something that really rubs us the wrong way. And when you don't, it's very scary to be around somebody like that.
Hmm.
Um, I do want to wrap most of this up. I know there was a lot thrown at you guys, and I really appreciate those I've said this already, that been here. And thank you for hearing and listening and share. Those who have shared, I really, really, really appreciate it. We didn't get as much as I wanted to in grief and loss, but I'm pretty sure this whole story is grief and loss.
Hmm.
Um, the trauma and the tragedy behind it is like, it obviously still brings me to a place that I don't want to be. Um, but I have to share. Like, I feel like I have to share. And I don't want people to go through these things. Like, nobody should be suffering.
Hmm.
I know. And those children, like, I bet they're so grown
Hmm.
because I know mine are. And oh my God, we used to talk about, oh, what are our kids gonna look like when they're older? Are they gonna be friends? Oh my God, it's just
And not like we coming to a conclusion. If you or somebody is going through domestic violence, I put the National Domestic Violence Hotline into the chat. You do not have to suffer in silence. Reach out to somebody. Get away. I mean, like, if somebody is um, aggressive, it may start off with yelling, fussing, and being verbally abusive. That is a sign that it may be something else to their ability to cope and to deal with their anger. Talk to somebody and get, like I said, if there is a need to put everything with the officials so they have a record of this stuff happening, that is equally as important, because like nobody should be putting their hand on nobody. And if you are so upset with somebody, leave.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't nobody belong to you. Your kids, our children don't even belong to us. They belong to God. They just entrusting them with them in this realm.
Moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
so like, and if you are the person who is committing this violence, this domestic violence or otherwise, get yourself some help. Go turn yourself into somebody and get help. It is nothing wrong with getting help, and it is nothing wrong with seeking out assistance. That's what it's there for. Period.
There's plenty of, and if I would have thought more, but check with 211. 211 is a national phone line for resources. I'm sure domestic violence is on there, women's shelters. There's resources to get help and get out, um, even if it's slowly, even if it's,
Mhm.
relocating. There is help, and the more populated of a place you live, the resources are even better. Um, there's no reason to wait. There's no reason to wait. Um, you just never know. We talk about a lot of things, but tomorrow, today, the next minute is not promised. So, um, if you know better, you do better,
Mhm.
and we really have to concentrate on teaching our children and those children that are around us on how to be appropriate to one another,
Mhm.
how to treat one another, how to love one another. And when you don't love somebody, you don't treat them like crap. You just walk away, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Not everybody has the balls to do that, but there's definitely help now, more than there was. Yeah, that's why I said, Christina, it happens to both. Um, and you can't, and that was one of my points mentioning earlier that I would have never thought, never
Mhm.
thought. So you just can't judge somebody by the way that they look, or the way that they act around you. Um, so anyway,
Yeah.
that was the conversation. If you guys want to know more, I did pin the message for the hotline. Um, and if I get a chance, I'll tag some in the comment section when this is over. The point of this whole thing is to talk and discuss and to educate and re educate. Um, sometimes we just don't know who we're affecting.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. And that is right. What happened? Now, like once again, we appreciate you sharing that with us and bringing awareness and um, sharing your experience. And like I said, if there's anybody there suffering in silence or suffering knowingly, there are resources available. And yeah, like I like what you said about teaching our children how to act appropriately. And a lot of times I hear people say, "Well, staying in this situation for the kids," but a lot of times the best thing that we can do for ourselves and our children and anyone who is witnessing this type of behavior is to get out,
Mm-hmm.
get out of it. And it may be that you have to live a little bit differently in the
Mm-hmm.
transition, but in the long run, that is that'll be very beneficial, and it may save your a life. Because if something happens and you could actually be on the giving side of having to defend yourself, and I don't care how a life is taken, it is a traumatic situation. When they were teaching us how to kill in the military, just the going through the process was traumatic for me. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I say anybody who went to the military and even if you never had to go into combat, you need some counseling, because when somebody trains you to kill, that's traumatic.
Right.
Um, But you go through those experiences, and there's no shame in getting counseling or therapy or whatever the case may be for post-traumatic stress disorder or syndrome or whatever they call it now. But that is what it is. That's why the resources are available. So with that being said, if you missed the beginning of the live stream, please go hit that replay.
Yeah.
And if you know anybody is going through situations, be there to support and help them if you can. But like I say, sometimes it just nothing that anybody can do.
Yeah. If you are the friend, listening always helps. Like I said, telling them to leave or you don't need to be in there, blah, 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 it's not going to change anything. But listening helps. Be there. I said listening, but offering, like, oh, you can come here anytime. That door, here's a key. If you're really that good of a friend, don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. That is one of the, I'll say, top 5 reasons people don't leave is they don't want to be embarrassed or ashamed. We're trying to wrap this up, and get it going. So we really appreciate you guys. It was extended over a little bit. If you're just coming in, appreciate it. Listening, appreciate it. Again, shout out to those who gave super chat, super sticker. I'm gonna go back and look at it. I just wanted to get the story out as hard as it was to do. So tomorrow, on a happier note, I'm gonna be trying out this new game that I saw on Tori's Brain Game because I'm not, I'm stealing it, but I'm definitely giving credit. So join us because it'll be a lot of fun. And I just want to try it out. So get all the kinks worked out for next time. So I really appreciate everyone for coming. That's it. I guess.
Oh yeah. And wait a minute. No, it's this way this time. We're gonna see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.